Alright, I believe that we're live for another new comic book weekly. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Oh, actually, you guys can probably hear me twice. That's no good. Hold on. Okay, you should be able to hear me on this screen. What about over here? I believe you can hear me on this one. And okay, cool. Alright, another new comic book weekly. Thanks everybody for joining. We got Chanzo UK in the chat. Cody's operating on Omar time. Fashionably late. You got me. Yeah, we're 5 minutes late. Classic. We're just like Omar. Always looking up to Omar. I want to follow him and try to be like Omar in every way I can. Audio is fine, Paul Dev says. Right on, right on. Axel Plate, thanks for joining. Loud and clear. All right, so new comic book weekly. You guys know the drill if you've joined from time to time. We like to go over this week's pull list. So we got it up here. We got 8 comics on this week's pull list, so pretty light. Just under $40 at $39.92. So we'll get into the pull list just here in a second. We also have a big old stack of comics to review. I don't know if you guys were, if you picked up your comics last week, right? We got 2 absolutes, got 2 DCKO tie-ins, we got a DC Vertigo title, a great week for indies with Phantom of the Opera, Escape, Is Ted Okay, Power Fantasy 16, of course. We even had 2 Marvel comics, right? So we got the Ultimates 21 and we got Iron Man issue 2. So all those reviews we come in here in a second. And then the big topic for today, we're going to be looking at the month's new comic books. I put together this list of just the comic book series that interest me, right? So we got it up here. New number ones for March. I got 10 picks, and we're going to get into them. A lot of cool stuff from DC with DC's Next Level. We even got some Marvel here to talk about. And we got a nice group of indies as well. So that's the big topic for today. But first, we got to get through this week's pull list, all right? So hold on. What we got here? Jumping in the chat real quick. Borderlands says all good. Axel Play Omar. Who is that? Never heard of him. Is he well known? Yeah, who is Omar? We don't know Omar around here. Hopefully I can join Omar again for a stream. That's always a good time. All right, so new comic book weekly. You guys are here to see the new comic book day pull list. So let's get into it. We got 8 pulls on the pull list. You guys see, first week of March. This is new comic book day from March 4th. 8 pulls for a total of $39.92. Let me know down in the comments, what are you interested in picking up for this new comic book day? And if I miss anything in particular, I definitely want to know. All right, but let's get into it. What would be the pick of the week? We got the finale to DCKO. I think my pick of the week, though, would be Absolute Superman number 17. This arc is so good with Juan Ferrara on the art. We got Parasite invades Metropolis. Superman must save Metropolis from being devoured by his most terrifying enemy yet, the all-consuming Parasite. While the happiest man in the Absolute Universe, a simple family man named Lex Luthor, receives a fateful visitor. We know that visitor to be Brainiac. Crazy stuff there. We'll have to see how that story thread kind of progresses, but yeah, new kind of villain getting introduced, the absolute version of Parasite. And I don't know if you guys saw, Juan Ferrara put up like previews on the art for this issue. We got Jimmy. His eyes are going like all crazy because the Parasite virus is like all, I don't know, it's like all gooey. It's like cybernetic. Like it looks crazy. Let's see. Yeah, we get a little hint of it here on the cover. So potentially Absolute Superman teaming up with Absolute Hawkman to take out this version of Parasite. Pretty exciting stuff there. So that's probably the pick of the week. More Absolute Hawkman is always a win, says Paul Dev. Pretty interesting character. I know a lot of Hawkman fans aren't super happy with the direction they're going with this Absolute Hawkman. But I think it matches the vibes of the Absolute Universe. And you got to have one of the heroes be sort of corrupted. And I think they give room for him to possibly have like a redemption arc, right? So we know he's been working with all the bad guys. But maybe Absolute Superman can convince him and be like, hey, remember what being a superhero is all about? Maybe you should be a superhero. So, yeah, giving him that wiggle room to potentially have a redemption arc could be cool. Borderlands says, I'm giving Narco a try from Image. All right, so I think I saw that one on the solicits. You'll have to remind me what that one's about. But with that being said, let's continue with the week's pulls. Let's get into the second thing I'm most excited for the week. Dude, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees Rite of Spring. So that's going to conclude this series from Patrick Horvath. The series finale, this is the sequel series to Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees. This is called Rite of Spring. So you're definitely going to read that first volume before you read this one. But that last issue ended off in such a crazy way that I cannot wait to see how Patrick Horvath follows it up. The events of the previous issue are so incredibly wild that we actually can't type anything here without it being a major spoiler, but you won't want to miss the conclusion to Patrick Horvath's epic follow-up to Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Excellent stuff. I mean, this is just some of the best stuff coming out of the horror side of comic books for sure. I think Patrick Horvath, it's got this anthropomorphic, character and worlds, but the art style is just like you see on the covers, very storybook kind of look. So it being a horror comic, very off-putting, I will say. So yeah, great stuff from Patrick Horvath. Really excited to see how this one concludes. If you guys aren't picking up Beneath the Trees Nobody Sees, you definitely should. It's pretty solid stuff. Is Rite of Spring setting up a third series, or is this the end to it all? Personally, I haven't read issue 6, so I'm not sure. It sounds like a series finale. Not like mini-series finale, or like, I don't know. You could read into kind of how they worded it here on the solicit, but it seems like it's going to conclude, like, for good, because the events of issue number 5 are just so wacky. Like, I don't know how Samantha gets out of it, so we'll have to see what happens there. Continuing with the pull list, let's talk about DCKO number 5. The final battle for the Heart of Apocalypse in the melee that started with dozens of heroes and villains vying for the chance to win the ultimate power in the universe. Now only one remains. But to truly be crowned King Omega, you must battle more than the obstacles in your path. You must battle yourself. It's the finale to end all finales as the one true champion is crowned. The fate of all that lives hangs in the balance, and a shocking decision will bring the DC Universe to the next level. We would type more, but honestly, anything else is a spoiler. So suit up, get ready, and leap into the final round. All the DCKO tie-ins have been leading to this. I think the event so far has been really strong. It's been really fun. And it's been really well mapped out from Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, and the gang. Looks like in this one we get art from Wes Craig, from Zur Manico, who is over there on the Green Lantern title. He's killing it over there. Javier Fernandez, who I believe has been the series interior artist so far, and then Alejandro Sanchez on the colors. I'm excited for DCKO to conclude. Let me know how you guys are feeling about DCKO, because I think it's sick. I think it's really cool. If you're waiting on a trade, I think it's going to be a really fun trade. DCKO number 5, looking forward to that one. Axel Plate asks, it's DCKO, DC's version of Secret Wars? Not really. It's like an event that has had a lot of build up, and it's not Secret Wars. It's like Darkseid is taking over the future, and he's making his way to the present, like taking over, and the DC heroes have to have this tournament to determine who's going to be the super powerful being to fight off Darkseid. That's kind of the whole goal. So that's kind of the setup. I guess I don't know. It's not Secret Wars because there's no but then there's the alternate version of the Legion. I don't know. That's a good question. You have to read it and find out, I guess. All right, continuing on with the pull list, let's talk about Batman number 7. Dude, the first arc for Jorge Jimenez and Matt Fraction's Batman series, I thought it was so sick. So it looks like Batman is going to be beckoned to Arkham Towers by the mysterious man in room 10. Nothing will prepare him for who he finds there. Some might call him the Cape Crusader's arch nemesis. Others might call him Batman's best friend. Everyone calls him the Joker. Look at the cover. The Joker's coming back. We know the Joker is getting reintroduced into the story. Looks like featuring a stunning follow-up that takes you inside the mind of the Joker. So maybe a little backup story potentially. Blood and Money starts here. So new arc starting up. If you're looking to jump onto the Batman title, this is not a bad place to start. So Batman, Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez, just keeping it going. I'm interested about this little Joker. I'm usually okay, Jokered out. All right, let's tone it down. We have too many Joker stories, but it's been a while since the Joker's been a main player in DC. Maybe it is time to bring him back, and I'm excited to see Matt Fraction's new take on the Joker, right? So some virgin variant there for the Batman symbol. Jorge Jimenez corner box spoiled virgin variant. A lot of cool stuff. Like David Aja has been doing a lot of cool variants for this series. But yeah, Batman issue 7, continuing a really fun Batman series from Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. What are we talking about next? Let's talk about Batgirl number 17. Guys, big change, okay? Cassandra Cain Batgirl has the power to control blood, all right? So that's been going on in the last couple issues or whatever. She's been fighting off like the blood, not the gang, blood gang, I guess you can call them. So it says a changed Cassandra Cain returns to Gotham. Spinning directly out of the events of DCKO, Batgirl is back in Gotham City when she wakes up with the twisted metahuman abilities of the blood. The power to wield and control her blood like a weapon. But her Bat family reunion is cut short when she is forced to ascend Wu Corp, that's like Wu-Tang, shout out Wu-Tang. Wu Corp Tower to confront her blood relatives for answers and a reversal for this curse. Cassandra Cain has leveled up, or is it a level down? The perfect jumping on point for new readers of this hit series as the Curse of the Blood begins here. Great jumping on point, like they said, Curse of the Blood starts here. This is Batgirl returning to Gotham City, and we're hoping that Tate Bromwell can bring us back to where that first arc was, because the first arc of Batgirl, I'm telling you guys, it was so good. It was like can't miss comics. They stepped it down a little bit when they did Shiva Year 1. I was like, okay, cool. They stepped it back up a little bit in the last arc, but I'm really just hoping they can bring us back to that first arc. It was so good. Miyazawa on the art. Tate Bromwell really impressing me as a writer, coming off of Everything Dead and Dying, the zombie series out of Image. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Batgirl. A new era for Batgirl potentially. So yeah, really cool stuff there. Anthony Manzano. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, by the way. Shout out Anthony. Thanks for joining. Hi, I just subscribed to the channel. Thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate it. Slay OTR says, boo, I'm tired of the Joker. I'm tired of the Joker too, like in general. But it could be different from Matt Fraction. It could be different. Let's just hope that the Joker doesn't overstay his welcome. DC, please remove these ugly blue banners from all the main books. Yeah, all like the issue, like the cover A's. Yeah, that's an ugly banner right across the top. I'm not a fan of when they do stuff that like that too, Paul. Like whenever, I mean the best example, like actually I probably have one right back behind me. When the Switch comes out, right? Okay, these aren't the best examples. Maybe it's the Switch 2 actually that has like the worst examples, but on the Switch 2 games, like there's a big banner on the top that's like Switch 2 or something like that. It just looks really ugly. So I feel you there, Paul. I like the aesthetic. The aesthetics of your comic cover is important. You know what I mean? I get that it's a new arc, but yeah, I don't like the blue banner across the top. Anyways, let's continue with the pull list. So we also have Absolute Flash number 12. Now I know that a lot of people have dropped this title. I don't blame you guys at all. It was a little bit slow to start, but I would say around like issue like 8, they really started picking it up, and now it's like, okay, cool. I think Jeff Lemire is really in his element. Nick Robles is killing it on the art. They even have great guest artists like A.L. Kaplan as well. So let's read the solicit real quick. Can Fort Fox be saved? Wally must face his demons in order to save Fort Fox. But when the dust settles, what is the future of the Flash? I believe this concludes arc number 2. So yeah, maybe next issue would be a good jumping on point if you guys are looking to jump on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's really like the relationship between Wally and then you got this version of Gorilla Grodd. They're like best buddies, and I just think that's such a smart change. I'm just all about that. So yeah, Flash number 12, Absolute Flash. We're going to keep it going. Looking forward to that one. I think there's only one more thing. No, 2 more comics to talk about for the week of March 4th. New comic book day. We have Question Batman, Green Arrow. Batman, Green Arrow, Question. One of those orders. Arcadia issue 3. I am on the record saying I didn't really like issue number 1. I think that now that I finished, as of recording this, as of going live right now, I finished the Question Omnibus by Cohen and O'Neill. So I think that I might like this series a lot more if I go back to it. So I plan for Batman, Green Arrow, and the question is to reread issues number 1, 2, and 3, like 1 and 2 on the app, and then read 3 when it comes out tomorrow. And hopefully I like it a lot more because I really like the art, very much that Silver Age, Cohen kind of inspired artwork. But the story I just wasn't like the biggest fan of. So we'll give it another shot for sure. I'm usually a fan of DC Black Label stuff. And then, with that being said, I think the last comic for New Comic Book Day, March 4th, is Nice House by the Sea, issue 8. So we know that this isn't going to make any sense if you haven't been reading the series, but one of the houses, right, the Nice House by the Sea, they're going to war with the Nice House on the Lake House. Okay, so the people on the lake, they don't really know that the people on the sea are coming after them, but they are. They're coming after them. So we'll have to see if they can get out of this situation. It says the house invaded. The invasion of the nice house on the lake has begun. Shots have been fired. The walls have been breached. And for some reason, the stars have gone missing from the night sky. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. For the last issue, there's all this like body horror elements. And yeah, the people from the nice house by the sea, they're like real big control freaks. They're going to try to go after the nice house on the lake to try to be the last one standing. And it's really scary stuff from James Tynion IV. Alvaro Martinez Bueno and Jordi Belair, of course, on the colors. Excellent creative team on this one. So, yeah, shout out to all of them. But I think with that being said, that's like my new favorite phrase recently. With that being said, I got to stop saying that. But we have all the comic books we're pulling for. March 4th, New Comic Book Day. 8 things on the pull list. A great week for comics. Let me know what you're most excited for down in the comments. And while you're down there, like if you like. Sub if you love. Really helps out the channel. If you hype it, if you really like it, that helps out especially. So, yeah. Shout out to everyone for joining for another comic book pull list. But if you guys are watching live, you know how this works. That'll be a video on its own later on the channel. But let's talk about the weekly comic book reviews right after I catch up with the chat. Stay OTR says, I pray that it is. And you all say that, where's Marilyn Moon Knight books at? They set her up to be a cool new character and then they shelved her. Yeah, Marilyn Moon Knight only kind of appears in the Superman title, I believe. She had a couple of appearances. She appeared maybe like before DCKO popped up, but you're right. Marilyn Moon Knight is a really cool character. I saw the Blurred Without Fears video on Marilyn, and I got reignited. I was like, oh, this is a really cool character. They should bring back. Yeah, they did shelve her, though. It's unfortunate. Paul Dev says Absolute Grodd is amazing. I love Absolute Grodd. I love Absolute Grodd and Wally's like relationship. I think it's so sick. Anyways, dude, let's do the comic book reviews here in a second. And you guys know if you watch live. Then, after we do the comic book reviews, then we'll get into the big topic for today, talking about all the new comic book series that are starting in March, or at least all the new number ones that I think are notable. So yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. But first off, we got to do the comic book review. So I got 10 things that I want to review. This is everything that came out for the last week of February. A great week for comic books. Just to give you guys a little rundown of what we're going to review. We got Absolute Wonder Woman number 17. Double Absolutes, because we also have Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 9. Some more DC stuff with the DCKO tie-ins. Superman number 35. We have Justice League Unlimited number 16. Nice DC Vertigo title. I think it's my favorite DC Vertigo title with the Peril of Brutal Dark Ezra Kane Mystery number 1. We got great indie series like Phantom of the Opera issue number 1. Escape is back with issue 6. Is Ted OK number 1 from Mad Cave Studios. We got issue 16 of my favorite ongoing Image comic series, The Power Fantasy. And then we even have 2 things from Marvel with the Ultimates number 21 and Iron Man number 2. So let's get into it. What do we want to start with? I think that we're going to start with... Got to start with the Absolute titles, of course. Got to start with the Absolutes. Then we'll get into the DC Vertigo title. Then we'll get into the Indies. Then we'll get into the Marvel. And then we'll talk about these DCKO tie-ins. Alright, so let's start off with Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 17. And as I'm going, let me know what your thoughts are. If you read any of these comics, I would love to know. But I thought Absolute Wonder Woman number 17 was really good. Excellent issue from Kelly Thompson and the gang. It's kind of a no figure at this point. We know that Absolute Diana is going up against Absolute Zatanna and the Absolute Suicide Squad. And that was what this majority of this issue consisted of. We have Absolute Diana just kind of taking each member of the Absolute Suicide Squad off the board. It was kind of unnerving at first because Absolute Zatanna had control of Absolute Diana's powers, but she quickly gave them back. She's like, hey, I only wanted your powers in order to get myself out of the Absolute Suicide Squad situation, so now they can't go and kill me, but I'll give you your powers back and I'm dipping. I'm out of here. So Absolute Diana has her powers back. The big fight was between her and Giganta. Just like how to take out this version of Giganta. You're getting some assistance from her Pegasus that breathes fire. So sick from Absolute Diana. So cool. But yeah, Diana comes up with this trick. She keeps on getting as big as Giganta, as big as Giganta. At some point, they're literally the size of skyscrapers. They're kaiju levels going at it. So just awesome stuff in this Absolute Wonder Woman series. Really interested in the very end, though, as we get this guy who's covered in fire. coming up to Absolute Diana. Now, there's some theories on who this is. Is this guy Zatara, right? Like, is he Zatanna's dad? Is he possibly the Absolute version of Constantine? A lot of cool theories. And yeah, we'll have to see what's going on in issue number 17. But what an excellent series. Kelly Thompson and the gang just keep it going. Great stuff there. Real quickly, jumping in the chat. Javier Hernandez says, haven't read Absolute Wonder Woman, be right back. Well, hopefully I didn't spoil it too bad. But yeah, I like to do this New Comic Book Weekly, you know, still close enough to New Comic Book Day to like where the comics are still relevant, but give people enough time to read them like over the weekend, right? So yeah, sorry if I spoiled it for you. Try to be kind of vague, a little bit vague. All right, let's talk about Absolute Martian Manhunter, issue number 9. You know that the Martian is still kidnapped by the evil government organization, and at the same time we have John Jones. He's been inhabited by a different Martian, the guy who's all about seeing the worst in people and making you self-doubt, and it's kind of like the bad version of the Martian that we know and love, the Green Martian, which is interesting because the White Martian is still in play. So all of this different stuff that John Jones is going to have to contend with in the next 3 issues before they close out the series from Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez. But look at this insane artwork, man. As they're dissecting, the government's dissecting the Martian, trying to see how he ticks, how he works. This guy, he starts sniffing whatever comes out of the Martian, right? He's sniffing so hard or whatever, his, where did it go? His head explodes, dude. He sniffs it, and it's just so confusing to his brain, the Martian's like fumes, that his head just blows up. So crazy stuff. Excellent paneling from Javier Rodriguez. Some of the wackiest stuff on stands right now, we know. And the kind of setup is that John Jones and the Martian, they need to like find each other again, man, or else they're not going to be able to solve this problem. And yeah, we're going to have to see how the next issue, you know, there's all this stuff with John Jones' family, like he's having family issues at the same time, because we know that his son has been invaded by the White Martian. So yeah, a lot of complex stuff going on with this John Jones character. And the next issue, it looks like the government is sending a bunch of people after John Jones at the motel that he's staying at. So we'll have to see how he handles that. But yeah, another great issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter with issue number 9. Keeping it going, let's talk about the DC Vertigo title for the week, Peril of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery. This is from my favorite creative team in the comic book game, pretty much, Chris Kahn and Jacob Phillips. It's got that pulpy crime noir, but it's also got the Indiana Jones vibes mixed in. And I think that both of those together, like, it's just a match made in heaven. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It really is. So we got the Nazis are trying to go after this ancient artifact, the Anvil of Hephaestus. So if you're into Greek mythology, you probably know a little bit about that. This is our main character here, Ezra Kane. He's a private investigator type, and we first get introduced to him when he's going on this case, right? He's trying to go after this, I think it's literally a suitcase. He's trying to knock on this door. The guy who doesn't want to be found by Ezra Kane starts unloading on the door. Ezra Kane goes on the chase, and he gets the job done at the end of the day. We see that Ezra Kane, he's a capable kind of guy, if not a little bit clumsy, right? But he's still a man of action, and he can still solve the case if he needed to. And he's not afraid to put some bullet holes in some people, right? But it looks like the museum has hired him because he cannot not drop a mystery. He says, sure, I can appreciate a mystery. Give me 30, and then you can explain it all in person. So the museum has hired Ezra Kane to go in and try to look into the disappearance of this mysterious artifact. And it seems like Ezra Kane is going to go on a mission from there, right? So all the information that I've been sent from DC and stuff like that, when I worked on a DC Vertigo title a little bit ago, they said that he's going to be like beating up fascists, bro. So it's really cool that DC is giving Chris Kahn and Jacob Phillips that room to, like, yeah, let's punch some fucking fascists, bro. Like, that's so sick. So we're looking forward to that in Ezra Kane. We're hoping that this is a very long series and they get the whole, their room to just fully explore this world. I think it's so cool so far. The mystery behind the group, who is the Brutal Dark? Do they have ties to the Nazis or whatever? And then, yeah, just this Ezra Kane character is just really off to a great start. So, yeah, definitely recommend checking out issue 1 of Peril of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery. I think it is a surprise hit of the year. So, yeah, don't miss out on that. Another surprise hit for the year, Phantom of the Opera, issue 1. I'm a big fan of the Universal Monsters series as they've been coming out. Big fan of Frankenstein, big fan of Dracula, Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and The Mummy weren't like my biggest. I guess I just haven't seen like a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. I haven't seen the original movie that this Universal Monster series was a sequel to. So those ones didn't hit for me as hard. But this one hit, like right off the bat. This hit. It's this opera house, and there's this mysterious figure who is going around killing members of the performances or all that stuff, right? And there's this guy who's looking into it. He's trying to look into these mysterious killings. And so the artwork, though, is from Martin Simmons. And if you are familiar with Department of Truth, written by James Tynion IV, or if you've read the Dracula series written by James Tynion IV, but over on the Universal Monsters, imprint or whatever, Martin Simmons worked on Dracula. He did the interior artwork for that. So every single page is quite literally like a piece of fine art. Like this 2-page spread right here, it's just insane stuff. Like I literally couldn't believe it. The amount of detail that Martin Simmons puts in. It's just incredible work. Like all the mixed media sort of vibes, right? So I thought that this issue 1 was off to a great start. That's pretty much it though on like the setup. Like we get introduced to one of the members of the performances, like one of the opera singers. It sounds like she potentially like is being influenced by the killer, or like she's got some inner things that she needs to like work out, but she's been like whispered to from like the killer from like off to the side or something like that. So like right here, like the killer is kind of telling her like getting her to sing better or something like that, or I don't know. Really weird kind of mystery going on with the Phantom of the Opera, and I cannot wait to see how this one plays out. I think that these Universal Monster series are like 4 issues or something like that, so not very long at all. But we see here the Phantom of the Opera. Think of all we'll accomplish together, you and I, to the lady. So pretty interesting with this issue number 1. I guess my feeling is that maybe the killer is the woman, but maybe that's too much of an easy guess, at least off the start. Phantom of the Opera, off to a really, really great start with issue number 1. Let's talk about Is Ted Okay from Mad Cave. Excellent issue 1 from Dave Chisholm. I'm a big Dave Chisholm fan. When he did, what are the series he did, right? So he did, I'm looking at it right now. He did Chasing the Bird. He did Miles Davis and the Search for the Sound. He also did Enter the Blue, which is one of my favorites that he did. And then Dave Chisholm also did Plague House, and then he also did Spectrum. So Dave Chisholm is on a super hot streak, but this is Dave writing and drawing. So usually he's paired up with a really, really, really great writer, but this one he's doing the writing all his own. So we see Dave Chisholm, story, art, letters. And I think that because of that, it's all from Dave Chisholm. The entire thing is just so perfect on the page. And if you pick it up and read it, you'll understand what I'm saying. I guess the best way that I would put it is that because he also does the lettering and he also does the interior artwork, and because Dave's background as a musician, he knows how to like train your eye and to kind of keep the whole thing flowing. So like all the word bubbles are like perfectly placed out. Like there's just a rhythm to it that I can't really describe unless like if you're reading a Dave Chisholm work, you'll understand what I'm saying. And I got a chance to interview him a couple years ago about it, and it's something that he takes great pride in, is just like the placement of these word bubbles are like super important, and you don't really notice it unless you notice it. The whole scenario of the story, right, is this guy, he is going nuts. He works for this giant, capitalistic society, or the capitalistic company called Rhinestein or whatever, and he's in like the marketing department. But he's drawing like the same picture over and over again. He's listening to the same song on repeat. This guy's not doing well. He hasn't been sleeping. He's narcoleptic or whatever. Wait, which one's the one where you can't sleep? Narcoleptic is where you fall asleep all the time. Anyways, this girl has been, her job is to watch this guy and see if he's going crazy, if he decides to hurt himself or hurt someone else. Then she has to do something about it. She decides though, hey, listen, I feel like I could be doing more of my job. I want to go and try to help this guy in person to really, really try to help him out. And she tries it one night, and it doesn't go so good. I guess is the way I would put it. And if you guys have seen the show Severance on Apple TV, this is giving me such Severance vibes. It's not even funny. So there's all this intrigue about the company that's like this huge, giant global company that controls pretty much everything. It's a post-capitalistic cyberpunk sort of future that we find ourselves in. And yeah, man, I'm just really intrigued by the mystery of like, what's going on with this guy, what's going on with this company. The artwork is just spectacular in this. I mean, I'm just flipping through. It's like Dave Chisholm, some of his best work. And yeah, I just really cannot say enough good things about Is Ted Okay? The best issue #1 of the year so far, maybe? I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, really great stuff out of Mad Cave especially. So yeah, Is Ted Okay? Definitely recommend it. Let's jump into the comments real quick. Paul Dev said, did I see Chris Condon has a new Image series coming out May with the artist for The Walking Dead? I didn't see that, but that's fascinating. I have to look that up. Do you know what the series is called, Paul? Let me know. Borderland, one of my favorite comic of the year so far. Ted Is Okay. Yeah, dude, shout out Borderland. Giving Is Ted Okay like a chance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that we all are able to buy it, because it's got like some heat behind it on the spec market, I guess. Like, I don't know why. Maybe they think they're going to make it a movie. The Coaster Cave says, I finally make a live. Yes, love your channel, man. Shout out The Coaster Cave. Thanks for joining. All right, let's continue with the comic book reviews. Next up, let's talk about Escape. Dude, Escape 6. Back from a little bit of a hiatus. We got Rick Remender and Daniel Cunha's Escape. An excellent issue. I just finished Metal Gear Solid 3, like the remake, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, and this gives me so much vibes of that, like it's not even funny. So we got our main guy, Milton. The whole setting is that it's a World War II sort of setting. He's behind enemy lines. His plane went down when he was trying to complete the mission. He's trying to bomb this really big cannon because this cannon can be used to win the war for the Nazis. So he's a part of the U.S. He's got to go in and try to blow up this cannon. He gets captured by the bad guys. And you guys are seeing Daniel Cunha's artwork as I'm flipping through. One of the most beautiful books on stands. I really love Daniel Cunha's artwork. Our main character Milton is getting interrogated by this bad guy Nazi. But it turns out maybe Milton, he's saying, it was my plan all along to get captured, and it was just a diversion or whatever. So Milton is very very resourceful and pretty gruesome too, as we see him choking this dude out with the butt of the gun. He escapes capture, and yeah, he's behind enemy lines, and he's got to blow up this cannon. That's his mission in order to try to win the war. And I just love Escape. Really, really recommend it. I mean, Escape was one of the biggest surprises of last year. If you guys caught any of my top 10 lists that I did with Kai Bucks, we love Escape. So Escape very frequently ends up on our top 10 issues of the month when it comes out. So Escape #6, definitely recommend it. Just excellent stuff. I mean, it's Rick Remender, so like I know that I'm going to like the writing, but Daniel Cunha's artwork, it really is like a one-of-a-kind style. Let's talk about the Power Fantasy real quick, issue #16. So man, I thought this series was going to end because there's nothing solicited after this, right? So you're going into it, you're like, okay, is this the last issue of the Power Fantasy? The events of the last issue, man, just crazy. Everything's falling apart, right? So all the different power players, like one of the main power players who was holding everything together has died. So everything, all the dominoes are falling right now. The world is ending, essentially, right? It's being like this demon thing is coming up from the earth, and it's devouring the sun or whatever, right? So the earth isn't doing so good. It looks like Valentina has sort of failed in her goal to try to save the earth and keep it going and make sure nobody dies. She decides to go back in time, bro. And that's where I'm going to leave it, okay? So no spoilers. You got to read the Power Fantasy. It's excellent stuff. But it kind of sets us up on a course of like an alternate timeline, and she's going to try to fix it a different way. And she's like, hey, this isn't like trying to stay out of everything. Like that didn't work because the world ended. Let's see if I can reverse course and try to do it a different way. Fascinating stuff. We didn't even know she had that power. Fascinating stuff from Kieran Gillen and Casper Wingard. My favorite Image comic series on stands, like as far as an ongoing goes. Excellent stuff for the Power Fantasy. Alright, so we got 4 more comics to review. We'll get through them pretty quick. The Ultimates 21, Iron Man 2, and then the DCKO tie-ins for the week. So, yeah, let's blast through these. The Ultimates 21. Great issue. My favorite Ultimate series by far. I mean, at this point, now that Ultimate Spider-Man is over, I can confidently say that Ultimates is like probably like double as good. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take. But we find Luke Cage and the rest of the Ultimates groups all around the world. They're just trying to take down the Maker's Council. So while everyone's, like the main heroes are in the Ultimate Endgame event, Luke Cage and the rest of the Ultimates are trying to fix their world. And the entire thing is kind of narrated as part of the Ultimates like handbook, or actually, what did it say here? Right, yeah, the Ultimates handbook, a revised revolutionary manual. So it's Dennis Camp speaking to us, the audience, in these, you know, crazy times we find ourselves in. I mean, going to war with Iran, like all that stuff, right? It's Dennis Camp speaking to us on like how we get ourselves out of this situation. Like, how do we fight back? What are steps that we can take as American citizens? Yeah, it's pretty profound stuff from Dennis Camp. I mean, he's always injecting political commentary, so this thing's chock full of it. The bad guy group tries to spin up a new group called the Defenders. So the ultimate versions of the Defenders are here, but they're just a bunch of corporate shills, and they try to go after Luke Cage and the gang. Try to make it seem like Luke Cage and the gang have killed a bunch of civilians when it was actually the Defenders, the bad guys. And then a fight ensues. Nothing crazy in this issue, but it's more about like the theme of this one and kind of how it speaks to the times that we live in 2026, right? Like, that's kind of the point of this. So we do get cool moments of Luke Cage. I mean, he's like one of the best new Ultimate characters that they've introduced. So he's holding Mjolnir, or this version of Mjolnir, and he's slamming it down. He's beating the shit out of people. We have like a cosmic version of Ghost Rider who is riding on he doesn't ride a motorcycle. He rides a 3-headed dog, Cerberus. Just really cool, like epic moments and just really profound. If you take it in the context that we are living in 2026. And that's why I really appreciate from Dennis Camp's writing. Pretty solid on the artwork too, although maybe some panels were a little bit chaotic and you couldn't really, kind of messy in some places, but that's alright. Let's talk about Iron Man number 2. So we know that Madame Mask is teaming up with AIM in order to recreate the conditions that kind of led to Tony Stark being Iron Man, right? But she wants to do it for the bad guy side, right? So stick a bunch of smart people in a cave with a box of scraps, and see if they can sort of recreate what it took to for Tony Stark to be Iron Man, but try to use that for the bad guy side. So that's Madame Mask's overall plan, and Tony Stark has been trying to find where Madame Mask is and try to get all the smart people back. And I gotta say, man, I'm kind of surprised by how much I like this Tony Stark characterization. I usually think Tony Stark's an asshole, but I think that Josh Williamson is writing him with just the right amount of just the right amount of asshole, if that makes sense, right? Like, he's not like a super douchebag. He's just like kind of sarcastic, and it's not so off-putting as when I usually read Tony Stark stuff. And then on the art side, I mean, the art side is really solid, really just clean, like, in-house Marvel sort of look, but I think that it really works for the Iron Man series here. So, I would recommend checking out Iron Man as we find him potentially defending MODOK, because he's got to get some information from MODOK. Pretty interesting stuff going on. I guess I gotta say, like, the story is the least interesting part. Like, for me, it's kind of following this Tony Stark interpretation and seeing if I like it, and then the art is really solid. So, like, the story itself, I'm like, okay, we're trying to feel it out. Try to feel it out for this first arc or so. See if it's something that we want to stick on the pull list. Let's talk about Justice League Unlimited, issue 16. It was the end of the Terrific 10. It was cool to see the redemption of one of the characters that had betrayed Mr. Terrific and kind of screwed them. She was working for Neron, but she kind of made the switch. She realized what it meant to be a hero and turned on Neron, saved the day, saved Mr. Terrific. So really good payoff if you've been reading all of the Mr. Terrific, Terrific 10 sort of stuff. This had interior artwork from Dan Mora, and like, dude, I gotta say, like, the biggest hot take. Are you guys paying attention in the chat, alright? We got 25 people watching. This is the biggest hot take you'll hear all year, potentially. Sometimes I think Dan Mora's artwork is messy, alright? And sometimes I'm like, bro, maybe you shouldn't do 12 issues a month and it wouldn't look so messy, alright? So, look at this page right here, okay? Just look at this page. There's a lot going on, okay? But, like, I don't know. Maybe this isn't the best example. You know what the really good example was? The last issue of Transformers. I thought that was some of the messiest Dan Mora work I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't tell. It was, Autobots, Decepticons mashing into each other. I couldn't tell, like, where one Autobot ended and another Decepticon began. It was just, like, crazy. So, yeah. sometimes I'm looking at Dan Mora's stuff and I'm like, dude, you could tell the colorist is trying. They're trying to separate stuff, but I just feel like there's a lot of noise, like a lot of visual noise. I don't know, dude. Let me know if I'm off my rocker in the comments, dude, that I'm thinking Dan Mora is a little bit messy with it sometimes. But yeah, pretty interesting, fun little Justice League side story tied into DCKO. Pretty fine. Pretty fun stuff there with Justice League Unlimited number 16. And then finally, last but not least, let's do a quick review for Superman number 35. This was cool stuff, man. So Superboy Prime and Lois Lane were trying to get to the Time Trapper with, not this one, with a robot version of Superman from the Fortress of Solitude in order to get a message to the Time Trapper so that way he could help out the DCKO tournament, right? Because the ultimate goal is to defeat Darkseid as he's slowly taking over the future and making his way back to the present. So that was kind of the situation that's going on, but they're intercepted by the evil version of the Legion of Doom. This is from the future that Darkseid took over, so it's all the evil versions of the Legion of Doom. They're fighting Lois Lane, who has her Supergirl powers back, or Superwoman powers back, I guess I'll mention that. So she's fighting off the evil version of the Legion of Doom with Superboy Prime, and they saved the day, man, because they sort of convinced this evil version that, like, you didn't know Superman in your future, but, like, the morals that Superman, like, because Superman's morals are the reason why the Legion of Superheroes started, right? So, like, remember those and, like, you know, you don't have to be evil and, like, look at all the good things in your life. Like, she's in love with Garth, right? So, like, focus on that, not so much about the dark side and being evil and taking over the world or whatever. And it seems like it worked because she, for the first time in years, she can't hear Darkseid's voice, right? So it looks like Lois Lane's message of hope kind of broke through. And at the end of the day, it seems like they succeeded. They were trying to get the Time Trapper into the DCKO tournament, so that's going on. But then also, we had a really cool moment of Superboy Prime saying hi for the first time to Pa and Ma Kent. So that was a really cool moment for Superboy Prime. Actually, I was hoping you'd call me Clark, right? And we know that Superboy Prime is going to be a larger role in the Superman title. And yeah, just great stuff from Josh Williamson and the rest of the gang. I gotta say, Eddie Barrows on the Superman title, his look for Superman is so sick. Like, it's so clean with the coloring from Alejandro Sanchez. Like, it just looks so good for Superman. So I'm hoping that, you know, Eddie Barrows stick around. That's all I'm gonna say. If you want to be the main artist for the Superman title, I am all for that. I think your look for Superman is so sick. It's like a top 3 Superman artist for me right now. It's so cool. So yeah, that's what we have for all of the new comic book day reviews. Great week for comic books. As always, let me know if you read any of these. Let me know what you thought about it. What would you rank them? And while you're doing that, like if you like, sub if you love, and if you really like it, you can hype it. Really appreciate it. Alright, so if you're watching live, that's going to be a video. And yeah, let's get to the main big topic for today. We're going to be talking about all of the issue number ones that I think that are notable, right? So all of the new series that are starting in the month of March. And yeah, we'll get into it here in a second. Let me just catch up on the comments here. Biggest Barda, I love that username. That's a great username. Says, it took a bit to get used to his style, but Eddie Barrows fully convinced me this arc. I would agree with that. Yeah, like at first it's like, okay, cool. It's a little bit like too clean maybe. But then it's like, oh, dude, Eddie Barrows, like him doing action scenes and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, this guy's got it. A really cool style for Superman. And the Superman cast of characters, like his Lois Lane looks good too. Superboy Prime looks good. Like everybody looks good. And yeah, cool. So, all right, let's get into it. All the new comic book series starting in March. I got a list here. And yeah, I guess technically some of these aren't series that are starting. Like this first one, right? DC Marvel, Superman, Spider-Man #1. This is coming out from the DC side of the crossover. We know that, I think it's in April, the Marvel side's coming out. So it's the Spider-Man, Superman crossover. But in this one, dude, we got a lot of cool stories in this. We have Clark Kent, Peter Parker, of course. That's going to be from the main creative team here of... This isn't a great way to break it down. Here we go. Okay, so we got the Spider-Man and Superman story is going to be written by Mark Waid with art from Jorge Jimenez. Excellent pairing there. we get a Tom King and Jim Lee story. That's going to be Lois Lane and Mary Jane Watson. That's going to be pretty interesting to see them cross over. We got Jimmy and Carnage are crossing over. So Jimmy Olsen and Carnage from Matt Fraction, Steve Lieber. That's the creative team of Jimmy's Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. Who Killed Jimmy Olsen? If you read that, excellent stuff from Matt Fraction, Steve Lieber. One of my favorite DC series for sure. And yeah, seeing Jimmy Olsen getting the Carnage symbiote, okay. Pretty weird there. We know that Spider-Man 2099 and Superboy, Superboy Prime, I believe, are going to be in this story from Sean Murphy as the writer and the artist. Pretty cool stuff there. We get Gail Simone and Belen Ortega teaming up with Jordi Belair on the coloring to do Power Girl Punisher. So I don't know what drew Gail Simone to team those two up, but we got Power Girl and the Punisher. Then we get Christopher Priest with Daniel Sampere to do, what is that one? That one is, I have to scroll up on the solicit to find that one. Dang, I don't know. All right, I'm not sure who's doing that one, but we also get Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott are doing a race between the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle. And then we get Pa Kent and Uncle Ben teaming up with Jeff Lemire and Rafa Sandoval, I believe. Let's just confirm that real quick. Yeah, Jeff Lemire, Rafa Sandoval, Pa Kent, and Uncle Ben. That one's going to be a tearjerker, I'm sure. And then, yeah, I said Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott. A race between the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle. So that's what we have for Superman, Spider-Man issue 1. The first part of the crossover between DC and Marvel for the year. And a lot of cool variant covers as well. I did a whole video where I broke this down. So if you want more info, definitely check out that video. And yeah, I'm not sure which variant I would get. There's a lot of cool ones to choose from. There's too many to choose from. I'm not going to look through them all. Next up, let's talk about Batwoman #1. So we know DCKO has ended, and with it is kind of this new era of DC called DC Next Level. So Batwoman is getting a new series. This is from writer Greg Rucka with art from Denis. Denis did some really great work over at the Universal Monsters title, The Invisible Man. Greg Rucka, no stranger to the Batwoman character. He kind of set the foundation for the Kate Kane character, right? I just had a chance to read, I think it was my January read, I read, what the heck's it called? It's the Batwoman Elegy compact comic, and I loved it, right? So Greg Rucka and his interpretation of the character, I just fell in love with Kate Kane, one of my new favorite DC characters for sure. We have Batwoman daughter, sister soldier, hero. But since she was 10 years old, Kate Kane has lived in the shadow of a prophecy and the machinations of a religion devoted to the end of all things. How do you fight the devil when the devil is real, and how do you win? Acclaimed writer and co-creator of the modern Batwoman, Greg Rucka, returns to the story of Kate Kane alongside visionary artist Denis for a DC Next Level series that will redefine Batwoman and her mission for a new generation. Very pumped for this Batwoman series. I gotta say right now, it might be my most anticipated DC Next Level title. Until they announce the team for that Doom Patrol title, I think it's Batwoman that's taking the cake. There is some intrigue I have for the Firestorm series. I just don't know Firestorm as a character, but Greg Rucka coming back to DC in a big way, right? With the Cheshire and Cheetah robbed the Justice League, and then coming right into a Batwoman ongoing title for DC Next Level. I'm so pumped, man. So yeah, this is going to be really cool. Definitely adding this one to my pull list. That comes out on March 18th. And yeah, really looking forward to that one. Real quickly, let's jump into the chat. Paul Dev says, did I see Elizabeth Kane was in the previews? That would be a really cool follow-up to Elizabeth Kane. Okay. Interesting. That is interesting. Biggest Bardis has been loving Greg Rucka recently. Read his Batwoman and New 52 recently. And going through Gotham Central. Dude, Gotham Central. My favorite DC Omni is Gotham Central. I love it. Renee Montoya, I love it. And it's cool that Renee Montoya is coming back into the Batwoman title. Because ever since Question All Along the Watchtower, it's like, yo, where is Renee Montoya? We need Renee Montoya. Anyways, let's keep it going. Let's talk about Lobo #1. Also comes out March 18th. That can't be right. Lobo and Batwoman come out on the same day. I think they want to spread them out a little bit. But we have Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. They're taking the main man to the next level. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not the biggest Lobo fan. Just like all the characters with pouches and chains, and he cusses and he's got a cigar, right? Not into characters like that, but I know that there are some Lobo fans out there, and they've been really anticipating a new ongoing for him. So we got Scotty Young, Jorge Corona. That's just a team that like can do no wrong almost, right? Like I love that team. I'm just not a Lobo fan, so we're waiting on this one to see if I really get attached to it. I think my plan is to pull the first three. But yeah, Lobo's coming back. It's a guts-soaked path from DCKO to the end of the universe where Lobo is going to scratch his name and number in the source wall with a cool knife. Don't miss the mayhem, special guest, or tasty continuity. Don't you do it. So we know that Scotty Young, if I was trying to think about in my mind like someone to write a Lobo series, it'd probably be Scotty Young as like first pick. Number 2 would probably be like Kyle Starks or something like that. Like someone who gets that real comedic writing down. So yeah, I mean, they're saying all the right things. I'm just not a Lobo fan. But if you're into Lobo, I bet you're really pumped. Next up, the last DC Next Level title to talk about this week. Also coming out March 18th. That can't be right, dude. This app must be screwed up, man. There's no way these are all coming out on March 18th. That just doesn't even make sense. That might be the case, guys. That might be the case. So we have a Deathstroke the Terminator series coming out with art from Carmine Di Giandomenico and Tony Fleece as the writer. And this is a great pairing too. I really like Carmine's stuff. I like Tony Fleece's stuff. I don't know if they've worked together in the past, but yeah, they can do some really cool stuff together. Carmine did some really cool work on Batman the Knight, written by Chip Zdarsky, a fun little 12-issue miniseries there. And then Tony Fleece, I mean, he's been killing it for years now. I mean, he's doing Feral. People really love Feral. People love Stray Dogs, of course. The 2 latest series that I read from Tony Fleece, maybe they don't have... Oh, Uncanny Valley. Uncanny Valley was really good. And then Local Man, of course. I got to get the deluxe edition for Local Man. But yeah, Tony Fleece is excellent. Again, I'm not the biggest Deathstroke fan, but I think that this series has potential with the creative talent attached to it. Super soldier turned superhuman assassin for hire, Slade Wilson has made hundreds of enemies in his day, and now one of them is taking his world apart piece by piece. The hit is out on Deathstroke as he evolves into his purest form, a Terminator out for revenge and ready to kill anyone who stands in his way. Pretty cool setup, right? So, yeah, Deathstroke the Terminator, a new series for DC Next Level, apparently coming out March 18th. But I don't believe all 3 of those are coming out March 18th. That doesn't sound right. And then I look now, okay? I put together this list at lunchtime, and now I'm seeing that Wonder Man got pushed back a week to April 1st. So now it doesn't come out in March. Anyways, dude, let's talk about the Sentry, okay? So the Sentry is a character that I'm pretty interested in. So we got Paul Jenkins. I believe he's the creator of the Sentry, right? So from creator Paul Jenkins comes a bold, high-stakes epic about Marvel's most dangerous hero, the Sentry. A man with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns and the dark entity born from his own psyche, the Void. When the Void resurfaces, threatening to unravel reality itself, the Sentry must battle not only cosmic forces and criminal empires, but the monster within. So we got Reed Richards in this one. We got Spider-Man Kingpin. And we got Christian Rosado on the art. And yeah, Paul Jenkins, like I said, on the writing. So yeah, this one has a lot of potential. When I saw him in the Thunderbolt series or whatever, I was like, oh, the Sentry guy is pretty interesting. I haven't read any of the Sentry material, like in the back in the day or whatever. But yeah, I was thinking about adding this series to my pull. So if my shop has an extra one of those, I might be picking it up. Let's jump in the comments really quick. Pizza Punk 86 says it's going to be wild with Scotty on it. That's the thing. Like, if Scotty's on the Lobo series, like, it might be one to not miss. So I'll keep my ear on that one for sure. Deathstroke and Lobo were delayed. Supposed to be coming out the next week originally, I believe. Paul Dev says Marvel delays a book every couple minutes. And it makes it really hard when you're trying to make comic book content on Marvel stuff. Anyways, dude, let's keep it going. Should we talk about the Wonder Man book? I guess it's technically coming out in April. Let's talk about it really quick, okay? So, this Simon Williams guy, I'm intrigued because I saw the Wonder Man show, right? So that's why I added this one to the video today to talk about. Lights, camera, superhero action. Simon Williams has his ups and down, has had his ups and down, from being manipulated into villainy by the Enchantress to being one of the brightest stars in the Avengers. But just like Hollywood, no matter how low the lows, Simon keeps fighting the good fight. But what happens when the past finally catches up to him? Enter Randolph Chancellor, Simon's former cellmate. Okay, so it's going to be a love letter to LA, as well as the history of Wonder Man. Legendary artist Mark Buckingham joins Marvel mainstay Jerry Duggan. So we had Jerry Duggan writing, Mark Buckingham on the art for a little Wonder Man series. Like I was saying, just the TV show has me interested in Wonder Man, so might be picking this one up. I'm not sure. Let me know if you are down in the comments. Now we just have the indie series to talk about for the month. So let's talk about The Exorcism at Buckingham Palace. This is from writer Hannah Rose May. I was really impressed with The Exorcism at 1600 Penn. Obviously, that's the address for the White House. So a little Exorcism at the White House. That was a pretty fun series. It seems like, first it was America, now it's England. It's 5 a.m. at 10 Downing Street. The Prime Minister gets a call that bolts him upright out of bed. The royal family has been lost at sea. Parliament and Buckingham Palace explode with action in the aftermath. Some suspect the prince and his wife, the princess, were attacked. Others whisper their tragedy was the result of a long-standing family curse. Either way, playboy and recovering addict Theo Belmont is next in line to the throne. Can he step up to the role, or will he be consumed by his demons? I will say, though, this one doesn't have art from the artist for Exorcism at 1600 Penn was Vanessa Del Rey. I love Vanessa Del Rey's artwork, so I'm not sure what Kelsey Ramsey's artwork is like, but I'm willing to give it a try because Hannah Rose May has been really impressing me as a writer. Another series Hannah Rose May did was called... She's also on the Smile for the Camera series at IDW. She did Rogues Gallery out of Image Comics. I thought this one was really, really smart, and I thought that Rogue Gallery was really good. And my first kind of seeing Hannah Rose May's writing style, and I thought it was really solid stuff. So I'll be picking up The Exorcism at Buckingham Palace for a nice little horror series. That's got a lot of potential in my mind. Next up, let's talk about Honor and Curse Eternal. So let me read the solicit on this one, see if you guys vibe with it, alright? This is coming out on March 25th. An immortal ninja cursed with a vengeful war spirit is forced out of hiding to protect the last descendants of his sworn family, even if it means unleashing the monster within. 600 years ago, ninja warrior Genshi Sakagura vanished from history, cursed with immortality and haunted by a war-hungry spirit known as the Tengu. Now living in modern-day New York, Genshi's centuries of silence shatter when a terrorist strike and a kidnapping tied to his ancient past forces him back into battle. To reclaim his honor, he must once again unleash the curse he spent lifetimes trying to contain. So this is from writer Mark London, art from Jamie Infanti. Anyways, so when you say you're an immortal ninja cursed with a vengeful war spirit, you got my attention, man. So just on the cover and the solicit, I was like, hey, this one might not be one to miss. It's part of Mad Cave Studios' The Underworld universe. So little, let me see if I can zoom into you guys see there, the Underworld. Okay, so it's a little like mini imprint within Mad Cave or something like that. So part of the Underworld universe from Mark London as the writer. Pretty cool stuff with an immortal ninja. That might be one to pick up. From Vault Comics, coming out on March 4th, this new comic book day and the day that I'm recording, we have Nectar. So this is one that's getting a lot of spec heat. A lot of people are buying it up, pre-ordering it and stuff like that. Because I guess it got optioned for a movie or something like that. I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. But the solicit sounded pretty interesting. So we have an island village off Salem, Massachusetts is inundated with a strange species of butterflies that spread the dancing plague and have a very particular taste in nectar, human blood. New York Times bestselling author Jeremy Robinson and Italian phenom artists Anna Paolo Martello and Francesco Franchini horrify readers with a quaint village's descent into madness. So it sounds very much like, what's that show called, dude? You know that show that's on Netflix where those people live on that island, right? And there's like vampires. and it's a I sound like an insane person. It reminds me of that, all right? So an island village off Salem, Massachusetts, right? And you got all these butterflies that are spreading this plague that's making everybody go nuts. So yeah, that sounds interesting to me. Nectar #1 from Vault Comics coming out on March 4th from Jeremy Robinson. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. And then finally, last but not least, I want to give some shine on this one. It might be too late for me to pick one up. We'll see. But we have Comics the Magazine #1. This is big time stuff, dude. It's really cool. I like reading creator interviews and seeing behind the scenes looks at certain stuff, right? So this has a lot of potential. Revealed inside pull box power rankings, right? They have How to Make Batman with Nick Dragotta, Snyder, Martin, and Cowles. So I think that this is going to be a really cool resource for those that want to get into the comic book industry, like in a little bit deeper way, right? Because we don't have Wizard Magazine anymore, right? There's kind of like an absent like space for something like this. So yeah, Comics the Magazine is everything you've ever dreamed of and more. Want to find out about the next big thing before the internet even knows? Want to discover the secrets behind the big comics you love and the indie darlings you've never read? How about interviews with people whose work you know that excites you? Actual comics exclusive to the magazine? Maybe you're a comic book creator who seeks external validation from actual sales numbers. So yeah, it seems like this is just going to be chock full of a lot of good information for comic book fans, man. So yeah, that's the last thing that I want to shout out. That comes out on March 11th. And that's 10 things that are coming out in the month of March, 10 new series that are starting, except for Wonder Man, because Marvel screwed me. But yeah, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the other #1s just to see if there's anything we might have missed, right? So the app that we're using is League of Comic Geeks. I get that question all the time. We got some Cult of the Lamb. We got some Narco. Someone was mentioning Narco in the chat. So Doug Wagner's series. A guy has a rare form of narcolepsy. I was talking about that earlier. Hey, when he gets excited, he passes out. When he witnesses her murder and collapses, he becomes suspect #1. Okay, yeah, so now he must leave his apartment to pursue a killer. Okay, so that's a very interesting setup. That's pretty cool. We got Sonic the Hedgehog series. We got some more Star Wars stuff. Shadow of Maul. That's pretty cool. 51 out of Mad Cave. A new Alias Red Band series is coming out, but it's not written by Bendis. I thought that was interesting because Bendis is back at Marvel, but this one's written by Sam Humphries. So okay. We got some Dick Tracy St. Patrick Day special. We got Godzilla vs. America Portland. Looks like he's stomping around Portland over there. Saw something called Baby Garfield. That's pretty interesting. There's the Next Level series that I talked about. Got the DC Marvel Superman Spider-Man. It comes out at the end of the month. Fantastic Four First Foes is a new series that's spinning up. If you're excited about the movie. That might be it, bro. That might be it. We got a new... yeah, then it jumps into April. So I think that's really it, man. So kind of a light week for March. I'm not going to lie. Kind of a light month in March for comics. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, dude. I need to stop, dude. I need to stop streaming. I can't talk, okay? So that's been New Comic Book Weekly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We talked about all the new comic book series that are starting this month. Things that interested me, right? So be sure to let me know down in the comments if anything else interested you. And while you're down there, like if you like, sub if you love. Really helps out, especially if you hype it. If you really, really like it, that helps out a lot. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, that's been New Comic Book Weekly. Thank you guys for joining me, especially if you're joining me live, right? So for those that don't know, New Comic Book Weekly is a live show that I do every single Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I get into it with the chat, and we talk all about comic book stuff. I talk about that current week's pull list. I talk about the previous week's comic book reviews, and then we do a big topic this past week. The big topic was all the new comic book series starting in March. Had a great time talking about it with the chat, with Pizza Punk. We got Derek Seaborn. We got Paul Dev. We got Biggest Barda. Of course, we also have The Coaster Cave. We got Borderland. We got Javier Hernandez. Stay OTR. A lot of people joining for New Comic Book Weekly, and you can be just like them every single Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, man. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching, And yeah, I really appreciate it. Alright guys, that's been another Comic Book Weekly. Really appreciate you guys coming out, watching live. Chewy Queso, I didn't give you a shout out, but of course, thank you as always, Chewy Queso. And Paul Dev, thanks for joining as always, man. Thank you guys for watching live, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Yeah, catch you in the next one.